everyone. Welcome to the Cynthia Linox Show. I am your host, Cynthia Linox, here to remind you that this is the best season of your life. This is your season to thrive. This is your season to prosper, your season of prosperity. This is your season to enjoy abundance, abundance in every way, shape, or form. The things that you have desired, this is your season, my friend. But most of all, and best of all, it's because it is your season of awareness. When you come into this season of conscious awareness, it changes your entire life. Why? Because you start asking questions, you start challenging things, you start challenging the status quo, you start challenging traditional construct, conventional norms, doctrinal principles. You start challenging everything. I shared in a previous broadcast that I went through that season, of questioning everything. And and I can tell you that ever since I really walked through that that period, evolving and asking questions, and I did not take no for an answer, because what I realized is that any questions that I had, any question that I had, the answer was within me. I didn't see it that way, but you get external information, you read books, you attend events, and you hear people share their story. And sometimes it resonates with you and sometimes it doesn't. But when it resonates with you, as Stacy said in the last broadcast that I shared, if it resonates with you, it becomes yours. When you hear something, and you're like, oh my gosh, yeah, that's me. That's exactly, yeah. If it resonates with you, that becomes your truth, and you can share it with the freedom and with the comfort and fearlessly. You can own it. You can embody it. Why? Because it resonates. It is yours. So this season of awareness, of being consciously aware, because in order to walk in your truth and in your freedom, you're going to have to do, as I mentioned once, a wash. You're going to have to brainwash your own brain and bring it back into the right perspective, the truth. Just go back. And when I share with you, it's not telling you what to do. It's really bringing you back to remembrance, to remind yourself of who you are. Remember when you were a little kid, you didn't have a care in the world. You didn't think about, when you're going to eat, when you're going to sleep, you didn't think about anything. You're going to get a new, Christmas, going to get gifts. You didn't worry about things like that. But now there's so many things to be concerned about that has to do with this life. And a lot of it has to do with the programming that all of us have received, from teachers, our parents, leaders, just societal construct, the way our culture is. Whatever culture you are a part of, you are subject to the social construct of that community, of that country. So if you are here in the western part of the world, our culture is totally different than the cultures of the Middle East or Asia. It's totally different. But we are all subject to those traditional values that's been imposed upon us. And sometimes, like today, they really they're of no use. They're of no values. And just little things like cliches and cliches we use, and words we use, and just the mindset that we have doesn't really lend to the freedom, the joy, and the happiness that we should be enjoying in this life. Because people say you only have one life. No, you have this life, or you live. Uh, you have this life to live every day. Yeah, no, the way it goes is you only live once. Well, the way I see it, you live every day, but you only have one life to live. Because once this life is over, that's it. You know, you're no longer alive, at least in your, you're no longer alive. So you live every day one life. And in my mind, this is a life of happiness, a life of joy, a life of contentment, a life of pleasure, a life to enjoy. There are those that say life is hard. Well, if that is your mentality, then life is going to visit you as hard. There are those that say life is a struggle, or they would say the struggle is real. Life will visit you as struggle. And there are those of us that, life is just living. Things come upon us just like, because life does not discriminate. Things happen to all of us. But there are those of us that figure things out and get it resolved and move on, and don't really attach ourselves or think of ourselves as victims of situations or things that happens to us. So it all depends on how you see it. But one of the things that I hear from a lot of people, and I'm going to read something that really struck me. I read this about someone. One of the things that really obstruct our flow in life, for many people, for most people, is their religious indoctrination. And that is something that you really need to address and stop trying to, skirt around it or pretend that it's not there. You have to see it for what it is. And this person writes, and I thought it was quite interesting because there are a lot of people that are going through this situation. And they said, I feel I'm finally in my right mind. Imagine that, finally. I hope that means that you are now in your right mind, understanding and knowing that it is your season to thrive, in your right mind to really enjoy your life. They said, I feel I'm finally in my right mind. I will never again feel the agonizing, debilitating fear of going to hell. The guilt of being unable to keep all the denominational laws and judgments, being subservient to preachers and teachers, never feeling in control of my own life. Imagine that. Finally, now I have the joy and freedom to think for myself, and and that I'm on the same level playing with everyone else, regardless of their title. This person says that they finally feel in control of their own life. And with that, I want to remind you that the reason this person felt out of control is because most of us have given, we have yielded our power, personal power, to someone else. You yield your power to the preacher, to the teacher. You yield your power, and you tell yourself, or you assume that they know more than you, that they are better qualified to guide your spiritual life better than you are. So we surrender our thinking, and we just really get rid of our critical thinking skills, and we just really take on the things that's been taught to us, and then we shape our lives that way. Imagine this person for years, thinking. She said, I will never again feel the agonizing and debilitating fear of going to hell. I mean, that's really, can you imagine living a life with that kind of fear? She says the guilt of being unable to keep all the denominational laws and judgments. I talk a lot about, being subject to a bunch of rules and laws and so forth, and how my husband and I, we just got rid of that and narrowed it down to three principles: love, kindness, and compassion. And that works perfectly for us. When I did this, of course, I didn't have that situation of fear, of hell and so forth. There was always a question in my mind. But when I decided to challenge everything, especially I'm talking about my religious life. When I decided to challenge everything, I was serious about it because I wanted answers. And I wanted to really come out of that situation where I was just trapped, feeling shackled, and just lifeless, just stifled, not really having life, enjoying life the way I think it should be, at least for me, because everyone has to determine what it means you have to determine what life means for you and how you should live it. For me, it's pleasure, it's happiness, enjoyment, and yes, there are ups and downs, but I stay with the ups. When I have the downs, you just figure it out and deal with it. That's, to me, I have really programmed my mind to think of it that way, and as a result, I get a lot of there are a lot of good times, or at least that's the way I see it, because you can, a while back, a couple of years ago, when I was not ice skating, I was roller skating, and I broke my leg. That was like a setback because I was out of pocket for like 2 months. But things happened so nicely, so well, that I, was able to get, surgery the next day, and the perfect, just great doctor, orthopedic doctor, and so forth. So I handled it that way, and I was home. My husband took care of me, got me a scooter to scoot around in the house and so forth. So you just take your situations as they arise, and you just move on. You just think, I thought of everything positive. I'm glad that it was my ankle, my foot, and not my someplace else, or that I didn't really. So it all depends on how you see things. Depends on how you see it. But in this situation, this person, when they talk about not feeling in control of their own lives, imagine that. And really, all of it has to do with the way you think. The way you think is the way your life is being controlled. And when you give your power away, then you try to live up to a standard that's not even yours. When I decided to challenge my religious indoctrination, not only did I challenge the things that I learned from, the preachers, the teachers, the Bible, and so forth, I decided to challenge God himself, the God that was taught to me. Decided to challenge that God. And I did. And I did boldly. And you know what? Today, if I compare, I mean, I can compare it to the way I used to think, but it's almost like that whole challenge experience and the questioning and just really serious about what I needed to know, I think it has just transformed my life. It's like, okay, now you know, now you live. No fear, no judgment, no condemnation, no guilt, none of that. And that's what happened because I was bold enough to challenge God himself. Now I say God itself. You have to figure it out for yourself. You have to figure out what that means to you, but it's something that you must address. And I'm going to tell you something, my friend. If there is an element of fear of anything, fear of not making it to heaven, if that's what you think, or going to hell, if there's any fear in your life of judgment or guilt, condemnation, just fear, then you are not free. You are in the same shackles this person was in. If there's any fear at all, sometimes people, they are so afraid and they lie. You ask them a question and they lie. And they may be living in sin and they lie. Why? Because they're afraid. You cannot keep up. She said it right here. Unable to keep all the denominational laws and judgments. Imagine that. Then I realized it's all man-made. It's all man-made. It is all man-made. Again, that is my own challenge and my own questioning. That is what I deduced from all of that. So I was able, for me to get rid of that, and it was easy because when you find your truth, there's an element of confidence, of boldness, and then your life will exude that. It will exemplify your joy and your happiness, regardless of what anyone says. It doesn't matter what somebody says or what someone thinks, or your opinion or your take, your views, your judgment. It doesn't matter what anyone thinks. You know what is in your heart, and you know what you have learned from your own search, your own questioning, your own challenge to the things that you have learned, the doctrine that's been imposed upon you. Many of you grew up in churches, in homes that's all they did, went to church and so forth. And so you have this doctrine so embedded on the inside of you, it's hard to even, you will defend it to the death. In the meantime, you're not living, you're not enjoying life. You try to believe you are, but you're really not, because any element of fear that you have is proof that you're not at peace, obviously, and you really, your spiritual life is not sorted out. And those of you that say, because a lot now the whole trend is it's not religion, it's a relationship. Well, if it's a relationship, there should be no fear. I'm in a relationship with my husband, an intimate relationship with my husband. Am I afraid of him? Absolutely not. Is he afraid of me? Absolutely not. Do we love and respect each other? Yes. But there's no fear. And if there's an issue that comes up, we address it, knowing that we will figure it out, resolve it. It's a relationship. What you learn, what you come to find out, is that your life is guided by love. Your life is propelled by love. And you are no longer afraid. You're no longer afraid. We don't go to church. That's not something that's part of our lives. And fortunately, we have come to realize that. We have come to find out that for us, it's not necessary. As a matter of fact, I haven't been to church in 15 years or something, unless it's a wedding. And I think it's just been one, but it's not part of my life. And that's okay for me. That is okay for me. You need to challenge the system for your life, and whatever you discover, that's what will work for you. That becomes your truth. That becomes your truth. You realize there's no fear. There's joy, there's happiness. There's no, oh, I'm afraid of this, I'm afraid of that, or afraid of judgment, particularly judgment. Thinking you're going to go to hell is like, what the hell? I'm like, what hell? And I'm not here to influence your own challenge, experience, or your questioning. I'm just sharing with you that this is your season of awareness. This is your season where you can challenge everything. Everything. If you have any doubts, if you question things, if you start asking, I start asking myself questions like, well, just a lot of questions, just a lot of questions of, a God of love. I question that, because the Bible, I had like, I don't know how many 100 different versions, doesn't really talk about a God of love at all, or what's preached from the pulpit. So I sorted that out, and I came to my own conclusion. Now, I'm going to encourage you. One thing you should never do is to ask someone, what do they believe? I've asked people since I've left the church and I've left religion and religious doctrine and all that. People would ask me, so what do you believe? I believe nothing. The way I live is because of things that I know. And you can, figure that out the way, however you want to interpret that. I believe nothing, because I've come to the realization that belief, again, is doubt. Belief is an element of doubt. Another thing, you're going to have to be honest with yourself. You're going to have to be honest with yourself as to what processes happens in your mind when it comes to your religious doctrine. You're going to have to figure that out. The whole thing, my friend, is that in order to thrive, in order to to do the things in life that you really want. Because sometimes, we have these things on the inside, but, we are hesitant because of our belief system that's imposed upon us. And, we're in shackles because of what we believe in. We have limiting belief. We don't allow ourselves to branch out, to get out there and experience life and be curious about things, about situations, about people, about other experiences. We don't allow our emotional intelligence to really flourish because we romanticize religion. We romanticize that whole experience. But now as adults, you need to get your power back. You need to get it back, because when you are walking in somebody else's truth, you can't be free. This person, she says, she never felt in control of her own life. Imagine that. How can you can't be free? And if you're in prison, you're out of control. You have no control. You are subject to the laws and the judgments of social or religious construct. You're not free. And that's the whole idea. Life, the truth is freedom. And if you don't feel free to express yourself and be happy and just do the things that makes you happy, and have relationships that's okay, that makes you happy, and you can interact with people without thinking that you are unequally yoked, or do not mix with unbelievers and things of that nature. All of that stuff is, for me, I just threw all that out the window. And we have friends of all different cultures, nationalities, spiritual denominations or spiritual influence. We're just open. We have opened our minds. I have opened my mind to embrace all people in all cultures, and just to really use love of humanity as my standard, and be kind to people, and show compassion when people need compassion. And you get to identify that quickly, because you could hear it when people talk. You could hear it. But you really have to challenge everything. And my biggest thing was challenging the God that I was taught, the God of the Bible, challenging that God, God. And I did challenge. I said, I don't understand this. I need clarity here. And it wasn't rude. It wasn't belligerent. It wasn't, no, it was just, my heart was serious. And I was taught, don't trust your heart, because your heart is deceitful. No, I learned that's not true. That is not true for me. It is not true. As a matter of fact, that's how I'm guided today, by my intuition, by my heart. And I am telling you, almost 100% of the time, I am correct. And even if I'm not, if it takes me this, if I think I'm going this way and I really should have gone this way, it's no big deal. You learn, maybe an experience I needed to have, and then I just take the other road. It's not like it's not stressful. Life should not be stressful, because that really creates a lot of physical situations in your body. Stress is a killer. But when you're happy, it's like all this dopamine hormones floating around in your body, and you're happy. And when you ask questions, you become bold, you become daring, and you start feeling like you are in the right. You should ask questions, and you should expect answers. And when those answers came, if there is fear, then it's the same mess that I was in. But for me, it was totally different. I felt free, liberated, and could make decisions. We're not going to church anymore, because that teaching is not for us. That teaching is not the truth that sets us free. So we just left that situation. and decided to live our lives without fear of death, without fear of death, without fear of losing anything, without fear of losing anything, without fear of people. Oh, don't go there, don't do that. We travel all over the world, and we go in places and meet people, and we're simply not afraid. We are not afraid. You lose that fear. You may be apprehended, in a situation it's like, wow, yeah, you may be surprised, but as far as fear, no, you lose that. Because why? Because you know that you are guided. The love that you exude is like a shield around you, because that's how you feel toward people. You feel that way toward people. Now, whatever works for you, my friend. But I'm telling you, this person is saying they they had no control over their own lives. And there are many that are bound by that. Why? Because your power, you have given it away. You have farmed it out. And you don't even realize that. You don't even realize it. I hear people say, "Oh, you got to go listen to this preacher and to this person." But it's okay. You can listen to whomever you want to, but know that what's on the inside of you, therein lies your truth, and therein lies your freedom. Because freedom is not just being able to get up and go to the supermarket and come back. No, freedom of your mind, so that you can know that this life, your life, is one for you to thrive. Your life should be prosperous. Your life should be abundant, and you should really be fulfilled with the situations around your life, with your relationships, with your job, the work that you do, the hobbies that you have. It should be meaningful, and that is available to you. But you've got to get your power back, take it back, seize it. Your power is stored in someone else's arsenal. Your power, my friend, your power is stored in someone else's arsenal. But you don't have to go fight or struggle to get it. It's yours. When you know it's yours, you seize it, you embody it, you own it, and you start walking in your power. You take it back. All the beliefs, all the things that you used to have, the things that told you that you're not worthy, and that you're not good enough, and that you need someone to save you or to help you, or without this person you're no. Get to know who you are and seize your power, because it's your power. A lot of that teaching uh really affects your self-worth. Because think of it, that you are as filthy rags, and just all that stuff. How can you feel worthy? How can you feel worthy? People say things about money. The love of money is the root of all evil. So you kind of shun that. Yet we do work, overtime, double time, triple time, and things of that nature. No, all of that. I'm telling you, people would say the money cannot make you happy. Come on, really? When you can, take your kids to Disney World for a week and really have them enjoy themselves. You're buying an experience, you're buying memory. I look at it from, that view. So when people say, money cannot make you happy, well, I beg to differ. Not the money itself, but the experiences the money affords, because money is a servant. Money is a servant. And I'm sure if I gave you $1 million right now, you would not reject it. No, you take it. So all those things, all those thoughts, life is a struggle, or the struggle is real. Don't that's not I'm always in a trial. This is a test. I need a breakthrough from what? You need a breakthrough from the mindset that you have. You need to wash your own brain from the brainwashing that you've had. This person thinking here, I'm subject to all these laws and judgments, denominational laws and judgment. And you know what? That changes because I have seen, and that there are many religious people, preachers, pastors, and so forth that change denominations. I know, one pastor that I had changed from one denomination to the other because they discovered something else. I'm saying to you, my friend, discover the truth, your truth for yourself, and then be bold, be confident enough to make the changes that you need in your life so that you can begin to thrive and really be happy and joyful and really prosper in everything that you do. Begin to prosper, begin to live life abundantly. And I am telling you, it all starts with your thinking. It all starts with your thinking, but question everything. If it doesn't set well with you, like I had a question, one of the questions that I when I went through this, and I had a question. I said, about that passage in the Bible that says where God killed all the babies, the newborn of Egypt. That was my first question about God's love and about God being no respecter of persons. I had questions about that, and I got my answer. I had questions about uh, God condoning slaves. Of course, I had questions about that. Those were the questions that I had. This about, I had a lot of questions, but the answers that I got became my truth. And that's why I am free to express this and to share this with you, because it is incumbent upon you to do the search yourself and to really dig in. There's a big old elephant in the room. Nobody wants to talk about it. Why? Because people are afraid. People are afraid. People are afraid. Not only afraid of what that they may be ostracized or, you know, but just afraid that they will wind up alone. Well, yes, you could wind up alone. I did for a short period of time. I shouldn't say that I did, because when I decided to just go for it, because I wanted, there was just that thing on the inside of me that wanted to live. I was just bursting with joy and happiness that I needed to get out. And I just wondered, why would I feel this way if it was wrong? Because that's what was on the inside of me. That's what was on the inside of me. Things, just a lot of things that are so man-made, man-created, a lot of stuff. I mean, I could go, but my experience is a personal thing, and that's for me. It works for me. It works for me. And you know what? My husband is just, when it comes to like our lives, he's just very pragmatic. He likes things in order, and he takes care of the responsibilities of the house and so forth. And to me, it's really it's fortunate because I don't have to worry about any of that. But when it comes to things like our social life and things like that, we were pretty restricted, self-imposed, just because of teaching. And it's really because of me, because my husband was always a, fun-loving social bug and so forth. But I had these guidelines that I followed, and it just did not serve us any at all. And when we went through that transformational change, it's like I'm telling you, it's like God, creator, source, universe, whatever you want to call it, it's like it smiled on us It just smiled on us, on our lives, on our health, on our minds, on our finances. It's like it just smiles on you because it's like you dared to ask the questions. You dared to seek the truth. You dared to go within to find the truth. And now, talk about the windows opening in our favor. Yes, that is the truth. And the reason I share this, my friend, is because I desire this for you. You know, I love people. And I've met some amazing and wonderful people. But there are also people that are suffering. There are people that have all these hang-ups in life that it's so embedded in their minds that they would fight you to keep it. Yeah, I used to be one of those. I was so entrenched in religion, and I didn't grow up in a religious household, not at all. I was free and healthy and just enjoying life before somebody approached me and talked to me about introduced me to a born again experience and things of that nature and all of that. Then anyway, so yeah, but once I got in it, I was deeply involved. Never just sat on the pew. I was always involved in something. Always involved in something. Our last experience with the church we left, we were Ministerio de Reyes, which is in English is King's Ministry. And I used to talk about prosperity and things of that, and people would come and they had all these things that would not allow them to prosper. But now I understand why. It's because I was teaching a doctrine that didn't work. Because if that were the case, then everybody that tithes, uh, they would be abounding in life. And in our lives, my husband did not grow up in that. So we didn't tithe at all. At all. We never tithe. We just didn't. I was, and the reason we didn't is because, again, my husband always said, my responsibility is over my household. And he was not familiar with this whole religious thing because he did not grow up that way. He grew up in another denomination, which did not require all that thing. And the point is, the moment we left, we started prospering and prospering and now it's just like abounding. And I desire that for you, my friend. I desire that for you, but don't take it from me. Do the search, ask the question, challenge the system, take your power back. Don't be afraid. Take your power back. Take it back. It's your power. When I realized that, I had the power to create and the power to make changes in my life, shoot. I mean, but it's something that happened gradually because as I began to challenge the system, and start seeing changes but most of all, it was internal. I start feeling more confident, more assertive, more sure of the direction my heart was going into. I began to feel more confident, really confident. And I saw that because I felt free to share. Before I didn't say anything because I was kind of hesitant that I would be ostracized. And fortunately, I had friends that I still have that they realized, we just had to walk in respect. I respect their beliefs and they respect my new walk. And everything is copacetic. Everything is okay. But I sensed the confidence uh, that I had from the changes when I was asking all those questions. The more confident I felt, I just knew that I was on track. All the beliefs that I had just went out the window because you know what? Limiting beliefs, any belief that you have become your reality. Your belief become your reality. Your belief become your reality. So you live by those beliefs. That's why they're called limiting belief. You have these limiting beliefs. You have these limiting beliefs. A limiting belief. And if you were to really question it, something as simple as laying hands on the sick and they will recover. If that were true, then you would do that and expect to see results. That's one thing I question because, when I think of, St. Jude's and Children's Hospital and things of that nature, there's some thoughts that kind of go around in your head. And, people that I know that are not well, and, you just wish them well, and you just wish you could lay hands on them and they recover. And all of that stuff, I question all of that. When I broke my foot, guess what I did? When I broke my foot, I went to the hospital. The first thing I did, my husband, did all the movements and, called his doctor and got the best specialist in the area. And fortunately, I'm telling you, things work out so well because when I went to the urgent care, they said to me, this is really shattered and you need surgery right away. Otherwise, it's going to be deformed. It's going to set in and so forth. And that doctor said, you need to have surgery within the next 2 or 3 days. That's what I was told. And, I was at the urgent care, I was there, with my friend. I hadn't told my husband because I didn't want to alarm him. Well, I hadn't told my husband until I got the diagnosis. The moment I got the diagnosis, I called him. He left the office immediately. And, when he came home and he saw me and, of course, he was just in another, mindset. And the first thing he did was call his doctor. He's got an excellent doctor, and that doctor got a sports orthopedic surgeon, and gave us a few names, and one that I called was available to perform surgery the next day at 2:30. Imagine that. When I could have called my doctor, then she would have given me a referral. Well, you don't just get an appointment with an orthopedic surgeon right away. I would have had to get an appointment and then schedule surgery. That could have been a month later. But you see how things worked out? Things worked out and I was in surgery the next day he said, because I didn't, my husband's doctor is the one that recommended this sports orthopedic surgeon. And, I sent him an email and I said, I'm in so much pain and he said, send me the results from the x-rays from the urgent care. And once he saw it, this is happening at 11 o'clock because, by the time we got a hold of the surgeon, because my husband's doctor had recommended 3. Anyway, by the time we got a hold of the one that was available, it was like 11 o'clock. We had this conversation. And then after he checked his schedule, he said, I could perform surgery tomorrow at 2:30 p.m. Now, think of it. What are the chances of the OR, the operating room being available for surgery? And then a whole team of medical staff. You need your anesthesiologist, you need your head nurse, you need a whole team of medical professionals when there is surgery that's going to be performed, and that he would be available. I'm telling you, things just happen because it's like the windows of heaven have opened and just smiles on you when you start asking questions and walking in your truth. My friend, I'm telling you, you've got to do it for yourself. Do it for yourself. And even if you're not bold enough right now to make it public, do it for yourself. Ask the questions and you will see how the fear that you had, it's like what did she say here? She's no longer afraid. She know that I have the joy and freedom to think for myself, and that she's on the same playing field with everyone, regardless of their title. What she is saying is that finally, I'm free. I am free to think for myself. What does she believe? I don't know. It doesn't matter to me. I don't care. I don't care what anybody believes. All I'm saying is that to thrive in life, you've got to be free. Freedom starts in your mind. And this person is thriving because she says, I can now think for myself. And I don't, you don't compare what you believe or what you think or what you deduce from your whole indoctrination. You don't compare it to anyone else. If it works for you, but the bottom line is you must be thriving. You must be prospering. You must be living in a sense of abundance, not nickel and diming yourself. Whatever you want to do, being able to do that. Because why? Because God, source, creator, the universe will smile at you, and your mind is open, and the doors will open for you to just usher you in and bring you to a place of truth and freedom, to where you can live in happiness forever after. I'm telling you, do it for yourself, my friend. Take your power back, seize it back. Just take it. You can do that right now. Don't wait. Start right now. For us, it was like, oh, once that start, because my husband, reached a point, he's like, I'm done. And it took me a while. And then after I, got into understanding his position, and so we said we're going to take a sabbatical from church. That was in 2009, that we would take a sabbatical. And that was it. That was the last time. And our lives, I'm telling you, I am not trying to convince you. I'm telling you, for your life, do something else. Do something different. Start asking questions. Address the elephant in your mind. Put it out there. Ask questions. Challenge the system and seize your power back. You must have your power to create the life that you deserve, because you know what? You deserve to have a good life. You deserve a good life. You deserve a good life. You're worthy, my friend. You are valuable, and you must trust your heart. You can trust your heart, because therein lies your truth. In your heart. In your heart. Otherwise, most people just live life by default, just on autopilot. You just go through life, you just on autopilot, not questioning things and why, and just on autopilot. That's not the way it's supposed to be. That is not the way it's supposed to be. No, life is fun and full of pleasure and good things and good people like yourself interacting with each other, free from hate and jealousy and envy and scorn and all those things. I try to stay away from a lot of that stuff in the news, and I keep abreast of what's going on, but I keep my emotions and my mind in check. And I am always thinking that things are working out in my favor. That's just my mind defaults to that. Whatever it is that's going on, even during COVID, fortunately, we've never experienced any kind of symptoms of COVID. That's, but again, it could have happened, but, in our minds, in my mind, I'm thinking, no. And we didn't do anything different other than the mask, in 2020 and so forth. But, my friend, I'm going to close with this. Don't be afraid. If there's an element of fear of any kind in your life, then your freedom has been hijacked. If you're afraid of anything, even afraid to challenge the God that you serve and worship, you shouldn't be. And if you say it's not religion, it's a relationship, then then you need to have confidence within that relationship. And if you don't, that's why some people, are in bad relationships, because we learn to accept things just at face value. We just accept it just because. No, you need to challenge it, everything. And you need to have a voice in a relationship. You have to have a voice. There's no, even with my dad, and my dad was strict, but I had a voice, even if it was under my breath. Not really. The point is, if you say, no, it's not religion, it's a relationship, then you need to really qualify that. You need to qualify that for yourself in your mind. What does that mean? Really, be honest with yourself. What does that mean? You are worthy, my friend. Think higher. Think up. Think higher, because the moment you start really breaking out and start really living, you will see how life start turning for the better and upswing. You will experience that. You will experience that. Why? Because you will be walking in your truth, and it is the truth that sets you free so that you can live in the freedom and the happiness that you deserve, because you deserve a good life. You deserve to thrive. You deserve prosperity and to live an abundant life. And with that, my friend, I encourage you again to begin that search to take your power back. Just think of it. When somebody steals something from you, it makes you mad. It makes you feel indignant. But to know that we have yielded our own power, we have farmed it out for somebody to tell us about a God that you serve. No, you are in a relationship. You should know for yourself. So put that away. Put that to the side. Put that to the side and start following your own heart. Give it the worth and the value of knowing who you are. So, we're going to meet again next Thursday, same time, 2 p.m. Central Standard Time. And if you're not able to meet this date, then you can always find the show on over here in the bottom right corner: Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube, and enjoy the show. But in the meantime, don't let a day go by without you. And I know you're going to be thinking about that, because you know what? It has to do with you. It has to do with your power. It's yours. It's all yours. It's not mine. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just saying, just do what's going to work for you and change that whole thing around. I've read so many things on social media of people going through such a hard time. And, some people are talking about unaliving themselves, and it's all there, seeking help. Why? Because in their minds, they're just filled with fear, and there's no need to be afraid. But the only way you will get rid of that fear is when you come to know who you are, and begin to walk in that freedom. And when it's walking in freedom, it's you're enjoying life. You're enjoying the fullness of life. You can laugh, and you can go here and meet with friends, and have a glass of wine or tea or coffee, whatever it is, and you can just really enjoy life without the burden of, oh my gosh, I shouldn't do this, or I shouldn't do that, or I need to do this, or I need to do that, or I can't do that, and I can't do that, and afraid of in this person's case of debilitating fear of going to hell. Imagine that, going to hell. What the hell? That's no way to live. Anyway, I will see you next week, same time, same place. In the meantime, you have a wonderful rest of the day and the weekend that's upon us. Enjoy the holidays, whatever you do. Be helpful to those that are in need, and take pleasure out of that. In the meantime, hasta luego, au revoir, amigos. Hasta la próxima. I will see you next week. Ciao.